There we go. Let's straighten ourselves out. Get a little shoulder roll going. Okay, Kat, you ready? You ready, Chalupa? You just been loving it. You just a little camera whore these days, aren't you? Okay. Hey, everybody. It's Houston After Dark, baby. Uh, the exciting news. We have a young attorney from Florida, Roza Tawil. I think I'm saying her name right. She's filed for an emergency injunction, exactly what we had talked about. Wasn't able to get a hearing today. Hopefully, have a hearing tomorrow morning to force Finra to allow 2 more days of trading before the stock is made private on Wednesday. So I watched her interview with Uncle Smokies. I would love to be able to have her on this show. So if anyone has a way of contacting her, by all means, bring her on by. What I found interesting watching her interview is that she made all of the arguments we have made here. Every single one of them. Point by point by point by point. And that's what is in her motion for relief is basically, hey, if you were protecting us, why didn't you protect us back then, right? If you were protecting us, why didn't you stop them from shorting if you were to protect us, right? That's allowing them to continue to short for this period of time is not protecting anybody. And, you know, the argument made, like, what is the extraordinary event that you're protecting us from, right? Why, if this preferred share is turning into a private stock that's not going to have a QSIP number, why are you giving out new QSIP numbers? And why, a day before FINRA halted trading, did they give out QSIP numbers, knowing that that was going to happen? What kind of messed up crap is going on? So, I am stoked for what could possibly be a really cool hearing for her tomorrow. If it's on Zoom, if anyone gets a link to the Zoom meeting, it's federal court. Sometimes they'll show what court it's in. So if somebody is good at looking at the Northern District of Florida federal court docket and can see if there's anything in there and what court she's going to be in, I would love a link to the Zoom and go in as an observer and see what the arguments are. So fantastic. And I remember to put in the live chat this time. So, woo! Got that going. 1, 2, 3, shaboink. There we go. Playing the cat like a piano over here. Gotta turn off Kitty, you distract me every time. I almost don't remember to turn off the thing. Intro is off. Suck it. Yeah. So, let's get into it, shall we? I mean, let's just jump in the chat because all of your questions are going to be about Acme today. I know, just like last night. And I see there's some super chats already, so let me scroll, hit the super chats, and then I'll get back up to the ye old top of the chat and go from there. So I've got Anonymoth. Why are so many AMC GME YouTubers against MMTLP? Honestly, I don't know. I think for a lot of them, they just do not understand what's going on. They honestly just don't understand. They just think that it's like some hocus pocus, not a real company. I don't know. I don't know, but their arguments are all pretty terrible. So I just kind of, I just leave it for there's 3 or 4 folks that are in this like YouTuber influencer realm that actually know what's going on, and listen to those guys. That's what I have to say. Okay. So, just in my head, Daphne wants me to apologize to you. 1,000 apologies. Her finger slipped and she timed you out last night. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to untime you out. And I didn't know how to untime you out. 1,000 apologies. She didn't mean to do that. She modding on her phone and accidentally just like sent you off to, Venus or something. 1,000 apologies for that. Just in my head, if it turns out MMTLP was just created by a couple of market makers with no connection to metamaterial, what's the difference then? Metamaterial and the difference between metamaterial and tokenized GME coin. The difference is that the tokenized GME coin is on a completely different securities network and has nothing to do with the company. What they did was they took the shares that existed that were supposed to not trade, right? They took those shares and they started trading them. So while both acts are nefarious, one is the actual security, the other is not. So the GME coins has nothing to do with GME. The MMTLP, or sorry, Acme ticker was the actual holdings company that got traded. So that's the difference. That they just basically started trading something they shouldn't, but it was the security that was in everyone's accounts. And MMTLP'd my shorts. Houston, you seem like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 guy. What's your favorite Mystery Science Theater 3000 movie? Oh, man. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like Jonah. I am just the latest incarnation of Mystery Science Theater is just so bad and so forced. It feels like there's nothing natural about it. I am just not a fan. I'll take Joel and Mike any day over Jonah. And I'm sorry, Jonah, if you're watching. You are a disgrace. I'm sure you're a lovely person, but Jesus, it's so painful to watch. But favorite... I mean, I like Pod People. Maybe Pod People. That might be my favorite one. Little winged potato. Anytime they do a barbarian movie, simply because I love that when you make barbarian movies, you film the entire thing in a gravel pit. I just love that fact. I can't remember which one it was. There was a barbarian movie I watched a little while ago. It was made in like 1997. No, it was 1991 or something. Total low budget, filmed in a gravel pit. And it took place in the dystopian future of 2017. And it's like, 27 years later. And there was all these people, and they're like, no one remembers what it was like before the end of the world. And there's like people who are like, obviously in their 50s. I'm like, really? You were a 20-something-year-old when the end of the world happened. You have no recollection? Like, no one has ever read a book before. It's just fantastic. I do love barbarian ones. So like, what's the going? The pecs like melons and knees of fringe monkey. Which one was that? Yeah, criminy. But anyway, watch Mystery Science Theater. Watch the old school versions. A friend of mine in college, Dr. Jess Blagan, she just got her PhD from Auckland University in geology. But her original undergraduate degree was film, and she's from Minnesota, and she worked as an intern on the original Mystery Science Theater 3000 set. So when you'd see the doors go like, shunk, and all that stuff, she was like the person pulling the rope to make that happen. So that's her claim to fame. Dr. Jess Blagan, if you happen to be watching. I think you might still be in New Zealand, I'm not sure. But she's a volcanologist, just got her PhD. She's a badass. Was my buddy in my geology program at Hawaii. Okay. Is that all of them? That was 1, 2, 3? Cool. All right, I got those chats. Okay. I made the mistake of setting this thing up an hour ahead of time, so I am born an hour behind the chat, as it were. Let's see if we can do it. Roza Tawil has a video on Smokey's channel talking about the injunction. It's excellent if anyone wants to see. She's well-spoken, thoughtful, concise, and might actually have the silver bullet. I totally agree, Big Mac. She laid it out. She basically said, like, your argument is there aren't shorts. Then what was the extraordinary event? Right? We were talking about this the other day. Like, get the opposing attorney to tell you what the extraordinary event is. And if it is to protect investors, then why didn't you halt trading the day before when the stock got shorted 80%? Right? If you're protecting the investors, why didn't you actually protect them? Because you didn't protect me by making sure I didn't become a millionaire, right? I'm going to protect him by ensuring that his investment is worthless and not worth millions of dollars as should have been, because it's for his own good. He doesn't know what to do with that money. So obviously we have to make sure that he doesn't get any of it. That's a bullshit argument. And if you can get them to tell you specifically what the extraordinary event was going to be, they're going to have to say the extraordinary event was going to be, we don't have the money to buy your shares, and we're going to have to blow up some banks to do it. Tough shit. This is your bed. You lie in it, right? You're the ones who did this. You've known since July this was coming. And yet all of a sudden you're like, oh my God. That just shows me that you're bad at your job, right? And why should I have to pay for you being bad at your job? You should pay. You dropped the ball. You didn't do any diligence whatsoever to make sure that none of the shorting was happening. So that's your job. That's your fudging job, man, to make sure that this stuff is not shorted, not naked shorted, no FTDs. Why? Because it's against the law. If you are facilitating law breaking as a regulator, then you are not regulating anything. Therefore, your job is to make sure they close those positions and give us our freaking money. That's what it is. So that Monkey Butt and I can get in a giant 4-wheel drive RV and go live our dreams. That is what Rosa is fighting for right now. Okay. Danger the Banjo, click the live button. I clicked it. Danger the Banjo, check Fidelity and Acme is gone. I can still see I have shares with them, but the ticker no longer exists. Can't do anything with it. Yep. So tomorrow gets the delete officially, or the cancellation, or whatever it is. Yeah. Lots of ways. Spill the beans. What did you do today? I spent all day messaging people and being messaged at all day. I went early. I woke up early, looked at the markets. I wasn't trading. Checked the news, saw that there was no injunctions filed, and I was going to go down to Tacoma and go yell at my reps, campaign staff or office staff, and then I was going to go to. Then they weren't open today, so I was going to go to Marie Cantwell's office, and they weren't open today. So I sent emails and I made phone calls to both of them. But I think I don't know if I have a chance tomorrow. I might try to squeak into the city and go to Marie Cantwell's office in person. I do think being in person, like the opportunity to go in person, they might be like, oh, those crazy guys here. What do we do? But, being a presence and not just a voice on an answering machine or, faceless email, like, hey, do you have the moment for me to talk about the good word? The good word is Finra's bad. And my roommate made a good point. Like, these politicians want FaceTime on TV, and if you can convince them to do a hearing on Finra, if you can convince them to file some subpoenas, get some folks in front of them, get some retail traders and some brokers and some people like to talk at these things, and they get viewers, they get seen on TV, and that's stuff they can use for campaigns and everything else. So if we can make the argument that they should pay attention to this, because there's hundreds of thousands, there's millions of retail investors who want heads. They want revenge so bad. And they could be heroes. And it doesn't, and for something like this, it does not matter what party affiliation you are. But you got Charles Payne, who's a super Republican, right? And he's seems to be on the side against this short selling. And you've got people like Elizabeth Warren or Katie Porter on the left side who have the exact same view when it comes to selling crap that doesn't exist, right? So we this is like the most perfect, beautiful bipartisan issue. We can get both sides of the aisle. We can get the friggin' crazy pants Marjorie Taylor Greene side to agree with the AOC side on this. Like we can bring them together for at least one picnic, one potluck, and get them to all agree that they should not be able to sell stuff that doesn't exist. And when they do, they got to clean up their mess and not just shove it off to these like obligation warehouses illegally, because that is not the law. So, meow meow. After Moas, I'm changing my name to Lion-O, Lord of the Thundercats. You could be Tigra. Do you guys ever listen to the band La Tigra? Actually, I think there were two La Tigras. There's one that's kind of like I don't know, the Slater Kenny girl rock band, and there's another one that did I like the cars that go boom. I'm Tigra, she's Bunny, and we like the boom. That's an old one. Anyway, yeah. MMTP by shorts. Houston, you like cave dwellers? Yes, cave dwellers. Yes, that's the one. Trumpy's a legend too. Little wink of potatoes. Thanks for the hard work. Oh yeah, at least you got the references. Who is this gentle giant with pecs like melon and knees of fringe? And then like they're supposed to be like in this barbarian time, and there's like a highway in the background. It's brilliant. Okay. Now that I'm now an hour and 15 minutes behind the chat. Lost Waves. Also, Barry McCockiner. I hope he makes an appearance. BOFH, my biggest I'm idiot moment from the Acme was getting into the mindset of only selling my shares on the 8th and not scooping up more at a nice discount while I could. Yeah, I didn't have any extra cash to play and get some more. I should have, getting hammered back down at $2. I wish I had more, but I got some spy puts that have just been like not doing anything for a while. Okay, Big Mac 8000. It's a long shot, but she wrote a 148-page injunction in 2 days. Haven't read it all yet, but she has a really clear handle on the entire issue, which is a feat in of itself. Yeah, I mean, she threw the sucker together over the weekend. Desperate is trying to find a way. She had to get admitted. She was not admitted to file in federal court. She had to get the court to admit her so that she could actually file this injunction. And she managed to sweet talk the clerk, I guess, at the federal courthouse who had the day off to let her in. So she got this thing filed just in time before the end of close. And so hopefully she'll get her hearing tomorrow before everything turns private on Wednesday. So, the order from the federal judge, I mean, she probably will write the order that she wants the judge to sign, give that to the judge, and the judge may just go, rubber stamp. There you go. That's the order. If we're super lucky. If not, he may need some input from the other side. But emergency injunction is an emergency for a reason. It's very time sensitive, so that's why she'll probably get a hearing at like 9 a.m. tomorrow and get a ruling by like noon. So that's what we're hoping for, anyways. But again, if anyone can find the Zoom link, send it my way. I would love to see it, or post it in the comments later on the show. All right, Mr. Batman. BOFH, my main concern is judge goes unga bunga, me no understand, and rules against it for that reason. Yeah, it is a complicated issue, and I hope she is able to articulate it. Rosa, I know it's late where you are. You might be asleep because you got a big day ahead of you. But if chance, this is how I, Houston Wade, not attorney, not at law, would open in trying to explain short selling and the problems that have resulted in this ticker. Okay, this is off the cusp, right? Something we've been doing for a year and a half on this channel. But okay, traditionally, you have stocks that trade, and those stocks can go up in value and down in value depending on the results of the company's performance and the potential for its future, right? So if the company is doing poorly, the stock price will go down. If the market is contracting around that particular area, it can go down. If it's booming, stock price goes up, right? You get a supply and demand a curve based upon the performance of the company and its potential for the future. Now, you can bet the stock price is going to go up by purchasing the stock, and you can bet the stock price is going to go down by borrowing the stock and selling it. And that's called shorting. And if you're going to short a stock, you borrow the shares, you sell it, and you're betting the price is going to go down, so you go back in the market buy it for cheaper and return the shares you borrowed, collecting the difference in price as profit. What has happened is that people are shorting companies by creating stock out of thin air and selling that. They are counterfeiting shares. They are doing it sometimes legally as market makers under the guise of providing liquidity for the market, but they're selling shares that do not exist and have no intention of ever providing the real shares to people. So they're diluting the float of the stock, causing the supply to over exceed demand, bringing the price down, right? So they are manipulating the market via naked short selling of the stock. If it's a hedge fund doing it, they're doing it illegally. They're selling stock they don't own, letting it become a failure to deliver, and then they had no intention of ever delivering that stock. If they're a market maker, they have a superpower that allows them to print these things and never have to go back and buy them, unless a special event happens, such as a company goes private. Then the market makers and the short sellers all have to go and either buy up all the synthetics they created, the counterfeits they created, and delete them from existence, or buy a real share and use that real share to replace one of the synthetics to actually finally deliver the real share. What we had with Acme was that we had a definite date when the stock was going to cease to exist and all short sales had to be closed. Why? Because you cannot have short positions on a private company. It is against the law. You cannot take a short position on a private company. So, Your Honor, what we expected was to have a short squeeze. We expected these short hedge funds and market makers to be forced to go into the market and purchase every single solitary synthetic they had generated and delete them from existence, or buy a real share and replace a synthetic with that real share. And they had a set time period to do it. And what did they do? They shorted it even more. They continued to short all the way up to T+2. They shorted the stock down 80% in one day with only 2 days left to buy up everything in existence. And what happened was, Your Honor, is that Finra, the regulatory agency, actually took a look at the books and realized that hundreds of millions of shares were going to have to be purchased by these short hedge funds in just 2 days. And they freaked out. And citing a silly rule that has nothing to do with any of this, 6640 or whatever it is, saying that they are protecting investors and are halting trading, which is complete hogwash, Your Honor. They were not protecting the investors because the investors stood to make millions of dollars each. Just millions upon millions upon millions of dollars during this short period short squeeze, because everyone didn't do their job and close positions over the months they had to do it. And the FINRA realized it was going to be a catalyst and a market-changing event. They were scared and trying to protect short hedge funds and their brokers and their banks, and not the actual investors. The actual investors stood to win in this situation, and they put their thumb on the scale and ensured that those investors lost. So, Your Honor, what I ask of you today is to allow us to have those final 2 days of trading so that the investors, and myself included, because I am an owner of the company, can make the choice whether we like to sell our shares or not. And the short hedge funds must close positions before that company ever goes private. Judge goes, "Oh, thank you so much, Rosa. You are fantastic. Let me just rubber stamp this thing. Can I get your autograph because you're so amazing?" And there you go. There's your preview of what the Zoom call is probably going to be like. So, Rosa, give me a call. I'd love to just at least chat. I mean, shit. You know what's going on. You don't need me. You don't need me. She does plenty. But yeah, it is tricky to try to explain how the short selling works to people who are not in the markets. I just have experience at it because that's how you guys found me. Was I wrote that Twitter thread explaining the short squeeze with GameStop, and you guys went, "Holy crap! Someone actually explained it the way I understood." That's just what I do. I'm a teacher. That's how I make my living. So I take things and I put them into terms that the layperson can understand. So that's, hey cat, you're in the way of the screen now. So if I do want to read Just look at your butt. There you are. All right, get over here. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. And I saw Rosa's cat in her video too. He was hanging out. Orange cat, so I think it's a he. The kitty, don't stay on the keyboard. Just go right there. There you go. So yeah, so I think she has a really good chance of getting that order approved. I do. So let's all collectively put the vibes out there. That whatever federal judge she gets is like, dude, let's stick it to him. And it's awesome. Okay, so now that we are an hour and 20 minutes behind. Okay. Nico Desario. Yesterday I was able to put in an open sell order for today's trading. It did not fill with the halt still in place. I just tried to put a sell order in for tomorrow. It says symbol not found. Yeah, they turned off the symbol at 4 o'clock, I think. So they may have to reopen it though. Federal judge may go, hey man, reopen that thing. All right. Oh, Citizen 54, completely unrelated to Acme. Citizen 54, can you explain the article about the U.S. achieving a net gain in fusion reaction? What does this mean for the future of energy? Well, okay, this is not the first time it's happened. Every couple of years, they announce that Lawrence Livermore has managed to get a net gain energy from one of their fusion reactions. The first time, I think, was in 2014, using these, I think they're tritium, hydrogen-3 pills. And they basically take a bunch of lasers, like 200 lasers, high-powered lasers, and they all focus it onto one of these pills of hydrogen. And the thing causes them to fuse into helium, whonk, and they get more energy out than they put in. So they put in 2.1 megajoules of energy, and they got out 2.5 megajoules of energy. So they got more energy out than they put in, which is not how normal energy production works. Why? Because of losses in the system. So if you got a generator, right, you're burning fuel, boom, 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 making these explosions, they're causing pistons to go up and down, right? And those pistons are turning a generator, and then you get energy. But there's loss of friction, heat, along the transmission lines, all sorts of stuff. There's loss along the way. So like a combustion engine is like 40% efficient. Solar panels are like 45% efficient. One of the most efficient ones you'll get is either wind or hydro. I think hydro can be fairly high, 75% or something like that with hydro. But with fusion, you are at over 100% efficient. So you can put in fuel and get more out than the energy put in to combust that fuel. And that's the magic. It creates an incredible amount of energy. It can create sustained reactions. And the problem is trying to contain it and then transfer that energy into like the electrical grid. So there's been quite a few designs done for the magnetic containment units that would house these essentially like violent explosions that happen from fusion and not allow the electromagnetic energy to escape, and then converts it into regular electricity and then passes out into the grid. The two big ones that worked on it for large scale are Lockheed Martin and University of Washington. Then there's another company here in Seattle, Zap2, that's going to make little tiny ones. They're almost like household sized ones, which seems kind of weird that they let people have like nuclear fusion going on in their house. And I think my friend Josh actually has got a job doing the PR for them. He alluded to it. He's like, I just got a job with a Seattle fusion company. And I was like, are you working for them, Josh? So that's what it means for the future energy is we're going to the moon, baby. Why? Because the energy we're going to fuse, like we can do it with helium-3, but what comes out and the amount of energy it takes is a little high. So if we can do it with hydrogen-3, then we're set. So we're going to helium-3. Ow. Why are you biting my finger? You're biting my finger. So we're going to the moon to go get our helium-3, and we're going to power the globe, baby. So that's what's happening, right, Kat? Yeah, he agrees. Okay. Lost Waves. Can't GME and AMC be halted the same way Acme was? It's just called T6 instead of U3. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt they would try to do that stuff. And again, we can file emergency injunctions and have them prove that they were protecting us. Or they could claim that it's Orwellian doublespeak when they say that they're protecting investors, because they weren't. You are not protecting me by ensuring my poverty. Right? I invested in this for the squeeze, and you stop the squeeze from happening. And I've got cat hair in my mouth. Stop it, kitty. Don't shit. So again, like, you are not protecting me by making sure I don't get to live like a wealthy life. There's no protection going on whatsoever in there. Okay. Oh, Rosa's here. Oh crap! Hey, Rosa. You're up late. I bet you're one of those moments you can't sleep. Holy crap! I see you're back in here. Fantastic. We were singing your praises. I just got finished watching your interview right before I got on here. So the animals and I are saying hello and tipping our hat and wishing you all the best, man. So Rosa enjoyed Houston's rendition of my hearing. Oh, thank you. You know, I can do birthday parties and shows. Thank you so much for filing. It's just super duper fantastic. And please, if you get a Zoom link for the hearing, I would love to be able to watch. That will be like must-see TV for me. You know, you'll see a black screen that says observer, and one of those will be me. So just rad that you're in here, rad that you filed that injunction, and I am so happy. Like, I watched your interview and I was like, oh my goodness, this is everything we've been talking about since Friday. She's bringing it up. You're gonna hit a home run, man. I know the hurdle is going to be explaining short selling to the judge. I just have a feeling that's going to be the giant hurdle to get over, is getting the judge to understand what short selling should be and what it's become and why this matters, man. It's She-Hulk. That's a good comparison. Yeah, She-Hulk turning out law. And getting the judge to understand that, because, you know, I swear, like, when I originally wrote my Twitter thread explaining the GameStop squeeze, I wrote it with my dad in mind, because he reads the news and he's like, what the hell is going on? And I explain it to him. He's like, okay, I get it. And like 2 days later, we have dinner. And he's like, you know what? I don't get it. Can you explain it to me again? And I would explain it again. And then, like, you know, a few days go by, he'd be like, you know what? I need you to explain that whole thing to me one more time. And so finally I was like, I just need to put this in the words and send. And I launched that Twitter thread there. And then all of a sudden people were like, oh, that's why there's a short squeeze. So, you know, without having to get the judge to go through like 2.5 years worth of horribly offensive super stonk posts, you just, that's the argument, man. That's my advice as a not legal person who has no ability to do legal stuff whatsoever. Now you're getting wedding proposals there, Rosa. Just get the judge to understand the illegality of the naked short selling that's happened, and that this was how they fixed that. Because, man, I want something to go our way so bad, don't you? It's just, you know what, Rosa, if you'll agree, can we do a post-mortem show on Wednesday? If you get your order and or you get your hearing tomorrow, can we do a post-mortem show on Wednesday? Come by and we'll talk about like how everything went and what you think the next steps are. That would be fantastic. I would love it. I would absolutely just be like on cloud 9 to be able to talk about this stuff. So this is so yeah. Yes, hopefully you have our news to share. Okay, cool. What's the best way to contact me now? Right now, people have just been sending me messages via Facebook or Instagram, which Twitter was so much better, but I'm not allowed on there anymore. So yeah, Takeshi, I got Rose in here. Thank you, Takeshi. Takashi, sorry, Takashi. So send me a note through one of those ways, and we'll get set up. Okay, man, is there questions people want? I'm glad she's in here. I mean, I guess we'll just keep going through the chat here and seeing what comes up, and because these people, you folks are smart, and you guys think about a lot of this stuff, and you come up with all sorts of crazy questions that a judge might come up with as well. So let's see here. Big Mac 8000, if a judge cracks it, suddenly brokers, market makers, and everyone involved have to explain why they aren't covering traditionally shorted shares, which leads to far more trouble and arms future legal. So long shot, yes, but it's a silver bullet. I agree. And it establishes at least precedent of some kind that someone needs to be doing their job and ensuring that this illegal shorting doesn't continue. And our job is to get our elected officials to scrap Reg Show and make it so market makers can't illegally short now. They can't just create synthetics out of thin air. I think that's one of the biggest problems, is that not only are the market makers creating these illegal shorts, but they are also lending their ability to create naked shorts to hedge funds. So a hedge fund can like pay money and rent the ability to create naked shorts from the hedge fund, essentially doing these weird equity swaps, and then they can short this stuff to kingdom come without ever having to close until stock goes private. But then they skirt the rules as well. MMTLP'd my shorts. Thank God Rosa's doing this and not Houston in one of his shirts. You don't want me to I don't know, going on with a lime green shirt with a giant butterfly collar and like Guamese women making tortillas on it. Your Honor, please take me seriously. I've got a Jimmy Buffett concert to get to. They'll take me seriously. Don't know if lime green is my color. I could pull out. I'm a Seattleite. We got our lime green Sounders and our Seahawks, so we had to kind of adopt the lime green thing. I do have a Christmas tie that sings Christmas carols when you press a button, so that should win people over, right? Okay. Joshua Jimmy, can you bow down to Supreme Court Overlord Daddy Elon and get your original count back? I tried. They don't. I don't think Elon's ever gonna let me back. The best thing I can do is try to subvert their mods and create new accounts. And I have one. I just have not tinkered with Jersey. I'm sorry I haven't tinkered with it, but I've got the Polish account. I need to I just got crap I gotta get done, man. It's hard. It's hard to get this stuff done. It takes a while to set up a fake account and get it all right, and then you make 4 tweets and then they delete you and you gotta do it all over again. So it just takes time. Okay. Chief 117. What if short hedge funds are sold the shares they need to close their position, therefore giving us all legit next bridge, and the money from the sale is used to pay us a dividend, since Acme has Acme parent company has tons of Acme. I don't think that's going to happen. From the language I've seen from John Berta, I don't think that's the plan. I think the plan is to get people their money and close the shares. Do it the hard way, not the easy way. So I don't think the plan is to somehow magically sell 335 million shares that could be authorized without there actually being a market. That just doesn't make sense to me. As how that would go. But it would be kind of a honeypot holdings. Rosa, you're a lawyer. We'll talk about honeypot holdings. I don't know if you've ever been in the chat when we were talking about that, but it's my master plan to force the short hedge funds to pay me billions of dollars. Okay. Ideas Matter 7707. Hi, Houston. If the brokers have to buy our shares back, should I just let them contact me? How would you ask for 1,000 for each of your shares? Well, Tony Twits or someone was saying that folks had been getting contacted by their brokers to sell shares and made an offering and then sign an NDA. No one contacted me, but maybe they're going after the big whales first, people that might have like 1 million shares or something or more, and talking to them. And I'm just a small fry with my 1,000 shares. But they're going to need all of them if they're going to close this stuff. So, yeah. Okay. Lost Waves, you see the borrowed Acme stock today. What the and people reported barcoding around $2 level. I saw a listing that there were still shares available to borrow, and that the borrow rate is like 35% or something. Right? Things that make you go, Hoshi Gaming. Oh, wait. Sorry. I skipped one. Where was I? Billy Illy. If you haven't contacted your Congress rep about Finra, please do. Manipulation needs to stop already. Yes. Remember, and Rosa made this point in an interview, Finra is a private company that's given special powers to regulate the market. They are not a governmental agency. They may have the look, feel, gravitas of a governmental agency, but they are a private company. And the people who sit on the board of Finra also sit on market makers and hedge funds and big index funds and they're investment bankers. So essentially, it's Fox watching the hen house in the situation. So if we can make the federal government aware of the conflict of interest involved, such as folks like Aria Rubenstein, who may be involved in this, then, that's a good reason to get hearings. Being like, hey, why are you wearing two hats when it comes to this? Why are you regulating yourself? And when it comes to opportunity to regulate yourself, why are you giving yourself the benefit of the doubt here, man? That it's organized crime is what it is. That is how you create a kleptocracy, is that you allow the criminals to monitor themselves. Lunar Swine, Pig Moon here. What happens if FINRA lawyers argue that they were just in fact protecting investors, just the short institutional investors? Well, then it becomes a numbers game, right? Are you going to protect 6 hedge funds for 60,000 plus investors, right? Who deserves the protecting? The people who are committing the crime, or the people who are the victims of the crime, right? And I think a big thing is if the lawyers argue that there's an extraordinary event, you have to get that lawyer to explain what the extraordinary event was going to be, right? Because if S3 and Fintel say, oh, there's only 6 million shorted shares, that should have been no big deal to close over 2 days. Why? Because they did 13 million shares on Thursday. So why shouldn't they be able to close 6 million in no time? Lickety split, right? But if something more significant than that, and if they're creating QSIPs to push these synthetic shares in the obligations warehouse, then that's proof that the extraordinary event was going to be these hedge funds were going to blink out of existence. Their prime brokers are going to be held liable for upwards of like $2 trillion in liability if in fact there were 250 million, 300 million synthetic shares as have been estimated. So that's kind of where we are. Like it's like the DeSantis case when the judge asked the lawyers to define woke, and the lawyers were forced to say that, well, wokeness is the belief that there's systemic problems and those should be fixed. Like, yeah. So what is the extraordinary event? What is it, man? What is the extraordinary event? Oops, gonna slap the mic though. Get the lawyer to tell you from FINRA what it is. And they're going to have to say, well, the extraordinary event was going to be a liquidity crisis that was going to collapse all these hedge funds and cause a cascade through the market. Okay, cool. Then that should happen, right? Because you guys created the problem, and now these are the consequences of your problem. So all of your money is now all of our money, and then we can open up the investment banks and the hedge funds and everything else. You guys lost the chance by breaking the law a whole bunch of times. That's kind of the the extraordinary event. What is the extraordinary event? Please tell me in lurid detail so that I can use that against you. Extinction level event. It is Deep Impact. Steve Gaghagan, Houston, the case for we bought for short squeeze sounds like it could be colluding. Case for protecting retail rights and giving them due process is stronger. No, I mean you can buy stocks for whatever reason you want, and if you believe that there's going to be a short squeeze, that's as good a reason to buy a stock as any. Why? Because there's blatant market manipulation by the short sellers. Like the short sellers all selling a bunch of shares illegally, that can be considered collusion. That right there, that is straight up collusion. Retail investors trying to combat that with buying and holding, that's not, I don't think that's considered collusion. In the argument from the Overstock case, the argument the short hedge funds gave was that Overstock giving the crypto dividend was unfair because it hurt them. And the judge was like, fuck you. He's like, Overstock has an obligation to ensure a high stock price for their investors. And if they have to do something to ensure that high stock price for investors and happens to hurt you, oh, boo-hoo. That's basically the Overstock ruling. So, Finra can make the argument, they're like, oh, these guys who are buying and holding are hurting our feelings. Well, tough. You illegally naked short selling is hurting ours, right? So the only way to combat that naked short selling is with the buy and hold, and that's what we were doing. And they went around that buy and hold by issuing this super rare U3 on a domestic stock, which someone commented last night, like there's been like 237 U3s. Those are all on foreign stocks. There's only been like 3 others on U.S. domestic stocks ever done. And this is this is the 4th, or this is the 3rd. I can't remember which. And Rosa made the good point in her interview that there's certain rules for this U3 stock, and it's supposed to be applied to stocks that are, have infinite number of trading days, and that it was used on a stock that had a definitive end date, specifically to keep people from realizing their ability to trade in the last couple of days they're available. And yeah, they had since July to know about this. They've had 3 weeks since the S3 was approved to figure this out. They could have said when the S3 is approved, Finra could have done a corporate action then saying, hey, for the next 3 weeks, it's closing only. They could have done it then. But they waited to do their corporate action until the Wednesday before it closed. And then they're like, oh yeah, oops. When they filed their the dog. You want your blanket? Okay, one sec. Sorry. She needs to go under her blanket. You have to get off your blanket first, ding dong. Okay, lay down. Whoop. There you go. That's a happy dog. And she's going to pull her blanket off. Good job. You just pulled your blanket off like a winner. There you go. All right. Okay. So, yes. Latinum. I publicly say that if you did a show on Sunday, I do a super chat, pay $100. Here you go. Thank you. I already forgot about that. So you could just totally reneged on that, and I would have never known. Yeah. All right. Here. There you go. Okay. But thank you. And then I get a nice big red latinum up there for the rest of the evening. Okay. Man, Rosa, you got me giddy. That's what you got me. I'm so glad someone is able to file an injunction. I sent messages out to my lawyer friends who do corporate stuff, and I heard nothing. I was like, well, maybe I'll just ring the doorbell at K&L Gates and just barge in there and be like, do something, rich people. But yeah. Paul V wants to know, can there be multiple injunctions filed? Yes, because there's multiple owners. You can have lots of people file injunctions. And what may happen is they may look at Rosa's injunction and go, like, okay, well, this judge ruled that way and then informed me this thing. So you have to make, perhaps if they rule against her for some reason, you may have to tweak the argument a bit to show something different to appeal to the judge. Be my guess. Then again, I'm a science dork. I'm not a lawyer. I only do stuff in court reluctantly. So, yeah. Okay. I am an hour and 40 minutes behind in the chat now. So this is the most useless chat in the entire world. I am so far behind. Okay. Brandon T, hi, Houston. My wife routinely asks about investments. Hard to say out loud how regulators rob me a whole lot of money without sounding like I'm crazy. Yeah, I mean that's, exactly. You sound like a boohoo whiner. But seriously, they robbed you. They robbed all of us. There's a certain way the game is supposed to be played, and they're like a 6-year-old who's upset at losing and trying to change the rules in the middle of the game. That's exactly what they're doing. And why? Because that's why they have those positions of power. So they can do explicitly that. And our recourse is the legal system, which, it's a crapshoot as which way it's going to go. But I think Rosa has really good arguments, and I think she's a good chance. I think you got a good chance. So let's get it. You're lower. More than 600 short hedge funds stuck in Acme. If this went to $30 a share, they would lose billions of dollars. Imagine 500 to 1,000. Most hedgies could be wiped out. This is a crime. Yeah. I mean, if it was any other era, we would be okay with it. We would just let them just get wiped out and, start over again. But because of the way we allow to have such huge leverage, margins of 30x on holdings means that if a single investment gets above, a single short play becomes more of a liability than all the holdings of one of these hedge funds, then there's no way for the prime broker to deal with any of this. Like, someone like Melvin, who was at one time at $20 billion was their assets under management. It was $20 billion. At 30 to 1, that's a $600 billion liability. There is not a bank in the world who has $600 billion in cash to close positions on that kind of liability. There isn't. Which is why .72 and Citadel had to front them several $billion so they could just barely meet that margin requirement, and then they spun all this crap off into these weird debt swaps, and then kind of let them go off to outer space. I have no idea where all those swaps end up, but there are family funds and there are hedge funds who have so much liability that it would be more than all the cash of all the banks on earth combined to try and close out their positions. So, if that's the case, then ye old Ben Bernanke has to start spinning up the printers, and they're going to have to just print money to pay us. Tough shit. Them's the breaks. Change the rules. Right? Don't let them have a 30 to 1 liability. Make it 10 to 1. Make it 5 to 1. Right? As an individual investor on a brokerage platform, I get like 2 or 3 to 1. If that. Right? They're not going to let me have 30 to 1. That's insane. Why on earth would they give it to, Chad Chaddington III, and just because his dad played golf with their dad and they both went to the same private school? Obviously they don't know what they're doing. As per the last 2 years of hedge funds losing money like crazy, they don't know what they're doing. They have no clue. They learned one trick, and that is short everything out of existence, and they have never learned another trick. So now they're moving to changing the rules mid-game and hoping that no one pays attention. But we're pissed, man. We're pissed. And now we're going to have the federal court paying attention. So, right? It's a great problem for hedge fund. Yeah, exactly. Like, the hedge fund's like, there's that old adage, like, if you owe a bank $1,000, that's your problem. If you owe a bank $1 billion, that's their problem. And all these banks saw exactly what's happening with Credit Suisse, and when Archegos went blink, because Credit Suisse is drowning in the liabilities from Archegos. They cannot climb out from under it. And their stock price is at $3. And everyone's talking about how they may not exist anymore. And they're desperately trying to figure out how to spin off their investment bank and make their commercial bank separate, because they know the investment bank is going down. All because of that one $800 million family fund. An $800 million family fund killed one of the oldest, most historic investment banks in the world. Just one little $800 million, it's $800 million bucks. Like, Bill Gates farts that every morning, right? But one dude with an $800 million family fund has destroyed an entire investment bank. So now imagine hedge funds that are managing billions, just billions of dollars in assets, when they eat shit because Acme is selling for $1,000 a share. Like, I think it should be important. I think the being cavalier with the judge, being like, so what, might be a great way. I mean, Rosa, don't listen to me. But, the judge asks, well, what if this has a greater effect in the economy as a whole? Be like, so what? They did this, man. That is their problem. That is not my problem. I can be a millionaire and have some banks blink out of existence. That does not matter to me at all. I'm fine. I'm totally fine with that. Oops. I'm sorry, Bank of America. You were really crappy to my family anyway. Oh no. I'll shed a tear for you. And then I'll watch some new credit union pop up where your branch was. And now we're an hour 34 minutes behind. Okay. Sad Boy Incorporated Houston. I think Ryan Cohn will buy more shares tomorrow, making my monthly calls print like a mofo. Thoughts? Also hope you and the monk are doing good. She's under her blanket in her own little world there. And the cat is a lump of a log here on the desk. So we're doing well. We're raging against the machine and hoping you all join me here as well. All right. Roza Tawil, I think this judge is pro-consumer. Rosa, I'm butchering your name. Roza Tawil. Tawil? I hope I said that right. Is pro-consumer. Yes. Yes, that's what we want. Just so many thumbs up. Okay, fantastic. Do you have a time yet? Because I'm trying to watch both chats here, and remember, it's East Coast time, Houston. East Coast time, so it's like 9 a.m. and it's like the butt crack of dawn for you. The sun's not even up yet. Tawil. All right, Roza Tawil. Okay. Roza Tawil. Okay. I only butchered 55 more times by accident. I've left 3 voicemails. And send the judge an email. Oh, good. Being a thorn and then just want to get you out of the way is probably the best thing to do. Call 25 times before 9 a.m. until they're like, just get your ass in here. Okay. Oh, we got Meow Meow. 2 must-have songs for everybody's playlist. Odessa, A Moment Apart, DJ Snake, Try Me. Meow Meow always in here with the home runs, right at the bat. Terry Haugen, Houston, you should give Rosa a week of advertising and a show spot behind you. Yeah, Rosa, you want some board here? Send me is it Tide Town? Is that the name of your firm? Send me a thingy. I'll put you up here. Why not? That's a good idea. I like that idea, Terry. Just as a tip of the cap to Rosa, we'll throw that up there. Adam Watkins, Houston, you the man. I have had Acme Preferred since 11/18/21, over a year. Capital gains percent, haha. Yeah. So you're at over a year. You're at that 20%. At over $400,000. So let's get there, man. Let's get there. Titletown. Titletown is the name of it. All right. Just send me a little 8.5 by 11. And sorry, Josh, you're gonna get replaced with Rosa there. But still under Next Level Chimneys, because Next Level Chimneys rock. So forgive me, Rosa, if the cat likes to sit here every once in a while and block that. All right. Sad Boy Incorporated, Dear Houston, what foods make you absolutely sling mud like no other? For me, it's shrimp on a cruise or sushi in Vegas. I'll tell you, the one that did it to me most was the Buffalo Chicken Pizza at Pizza Hut in May of 2004. I went to the hospital for that one. Lost 45 pounds in 4 days. Salmonella is no joke. So, there you go. And Rosa's like, oh God, now what have I got myself involved with? Okay. Kermit Waters, I think they are still sweeping under the rug and are secretly going to match what Next Bridge does as far as Divvy under the MTZZZZ sticker. I think they are hiding everything there, see matching as cheap. I mean, it's cheaper than buying our shares, because it's if the dividend is $30, then they're liable for $30 across 300 million shares. You know, looking at $9 billion. That'd suck, right? But it's better than $1,000 per share, $10,000 per share. When you get into like trillions of dollars in liability, if that's the case. Why? Because we know what's up, and we're gonna hold until we have so many zeros and crooked numbers in our account. We finally go, fine, you can have one share. They know just how screwed they are, and that's the entire reason behind the extraordinary event. So, Eric, if Rosa can get her injunction approved by the judge, it could be monumental. It could be part of changing the markets. It could literally be a case law student study for 100 years from now. Are you prepared for that, Rosa? Tawil versus Finra to be in all the law books at Harvard Law for all these like business bros in the future. Get ready for it. Get ready. Just rev that engine. Okay. Brendan Ella's Fun Adventure. They're trying to get a new illegal ticker to hide the shares and also spit fire any judge drips at them. Yeah. I mean, that's not wrong. They want to make this MTZZZZ ticker, and so they can shove it off in the obligations warehouse and say they'll clover at their own pace, which means it's just gonna float around the derivatives market forever, and no one's gonna touch it, and no one's gonna do anything about it. And then they'll do their best to torpedo probably any deal Acme would have for sale of their oil fields. They'll put their focus on destroying that. So, they'll call their buddies at Exxon, like, don't you buy it, don't you do that, and they'll do all sorts of crazy things for that to happen. Brendan Ella's Fun Adventure. Where the hell is the CEO? Probably under a gag order by his lawyer saying, don't say anything. John B left. He knew something. Well, John B left because he wasn't allowed to say anything as long as he was part of the company. So Berta left specifically because he's like, I need to unburden myself. The Berta burden. And little cat face right there in the camera. And I think that's the entire reason he left, was that he's like, I've got so much crap to say and I can't do it as an insider, so I'm out. I'm going to go yell, because that's as cathartic as anything, and get that out there. Okay, let's just, and we reset. All right, well, that's one way to skip ahead. And reset, but it's not. Oh no, I think I just froze. Hopefully it's still streaming, but I think there's so many chats that I think my entire thing just froze. Am I back? Oh, it's back. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, holy moly, there's so many chats. Well, that shaved an hour off of the chat. So, if you commented between like 9:30 and 10:10 p.m., I ain't seeing it. It's gone now. So, sorry, I apologize. Cat, don't bite me. Latinum, are you aware that Finra has a broad immunity as a self-regulatory organization? I think Rosa was arguing that immunity extends to possibly to damages, but not to injunctive relief like what she is filed for. They have an obligation to regulate the market and not do so in a way that I think provides favoritism to bad actors, which is what this U3 order has done. This U3 halt. So I think Rose is making a good argument that this injunctive relief is the fair way to go about it. That they need to allow 2 more days of trading, and that trading should be spent closing these positions, so that when the company goes private, they can do so without that weird special little QSIP to send everything off to the obligations warehouse. They actually do their legal job. They close all short positions, and then the company can move and go private. I think that's I think she's got a slam dunk right there. Yeah. Okay. Yes, but excellent on them. It's a good point to rig up, because I mean, and she also made the great point that she never signs an agreement, like a user agreement with Finra. She signed her user agreement with cat is just shaking everything. He's just licking and scratching. Hey buddy, get over here. No, don't hold that. Get right there. Right there. Stop shaking the camera. Nope, back. And I think she made the good point that she didn't sign any user agreement with Finra. Like, she signed it with a brokerage, so she doesn't have to play by whatever weird rules that Finra says, like, just because they're ordained by God to do so. No, that's not the case, man. Just wants to climb on the keyboard tray and shake the camera. All right, cat, you are a weird one. Elaine Hensley, it would make sense that with fear tactics to go after the ones with the highest percent amounts in accounts. They are the most desperate. Yeah, I mean, there are people that have 30 million or 16 million shares in their account. I think are the big whales, around 16 million shares. The 2 of them have 31 million shares between them. Of course, they're going to go to them and say, "Hey, would you like $100 million? Can we do that? And we can secure like 20% of the short shares right there." I was just licking my hand like a little weirdo. Yeah, why not? You're gonna go with those big ones first, and then everyone else will follow behind. MMTLP'd my shorts. Is this Acme situation the Big Short 2 coming to Netflix? Who would play Houston Wade? Everyone knows that Dylan Francis would play Houston Wade in any biopic that stars me. The man's a handsome devil. What can I say? He's just an incredibly handsome man, and looks exactly like me, just with tattoos. I don't have tattoos, but no, it'd be Dylan Francis. They have to put on like those sleeves to block his tattoos, and then we're cool. But you wouldn't see the tattoos and such the bitchin' shirts that I wear anyway. So there you go. Just in my head, Rosa, welcome to the Eye of Africa. All right. Jeff Goldblum. He's a handsome devil too, but he's like 40 years older than me. But he could do it. He just, put him in a cool shirt. He loves his cool shirts. He does. Jeff Goldblum has some styling shirts. I'll give him that. Okay. Now we got to figure out who would play Rosa, right? Because she's now going to be a character in the movie Big Short Part 2. Eric, brokers are guilty as they sell the counterfeit shares to you and allow the whole scheme to go on and on. Yeah, there is definite liability, I think, on behalf of brokers here. They know what's going on. They can see in their accounts what synthetic is. They know that when FTD comes through, they got to steal a share from one of their accounts and throw it over to the other brokerage to settle that deal when it goes to the clearinghouse. They are responsible for creating a lot of these synthetic shares that are out there, forcing them to clear to keep that liquidity going through the market. When the way that liquidity should keep going through the market is either the company be allowed to sell more shares to increase the number out there, or have the price go up and you get people to go, you know what, might be a good time for me to sell. Those are the two ways liquidity should be moving through the market, and not via a third party inventing shares out of nowhere and selling them that does not benefit the original company in any way, shape, or form. Like, a company has to get permission from the shareholders to create more, to authorize more shares. And oftentimes they get permission from the shareholders to sell those shares. But Knight Capital or Citadel don't. They can just sell shares that don't exist without input from any of the shareholders. That's bullcrap. And that's the type of stuff that needs to stop. Needs to change. It's just garbage, man. It's garbage. And as a society, we should be better than that, because what we've done is we've created an economy that's built around destruction rather than progress. That when you can make more money destroying everything than you can building up society, then what good is having the society you're in? Like, what benefit does the market play at that point? None. The market has ceased to be beneficial to society as a whole, and we need to fundamentally change that. And getting this order approved may be a small way to do that. And the rest of you, myself included, our job is to get our elected officials paying attention. Because if you can explain it to them in a way where, like, hey, these short hedge funds are destroying America, and they're destroying the livelihoods of your constituents. And it's very simple to say, no more naked shorting. Done. Problem solved. No loopholes, no special privileges for market makers, just no more naked shorting ever again. Other markets survive that way. Frankfurt, South Korea, Japan, they do fine without naked shorting. So why can't we? Because we have a whole bunch of rich assholes who made all their money via naked shorting, paying to keep it going. So, you know, I bet it's 50-50 in the House and Senate as to who would support getting rid of all naked short selling and those who wouldn't. But I don't think it's party affiliated. I think it is completely a mixture of parties supporting both sides. And that's why I don't think it really matters which member of Congress you go to, whether it's Republican or Democrat. Go to them, make the case, point out how they're hurting their constituents, and appeal to their sense of fairness. Because anyone who believes in a fair market should be against naked short selling. So, you know, if you believe in capitalism, right? You have a whole bunch of super hard right Republicans who believe in capitalism. There are members of that caucus who do not like the short selling, such as Charles Payne. Charles Payne does not like short selling, and he's as Republican as it gets. I mean, the whole reason John Berta's segment on his show is so short is because Charles Payne spent a good part of his show basically giving fellatio to big business. It's been like 15 minutes of the show, like, oh, big business is the best thing in the world. The only reason small companies can exist is because of big business. Like, you need those anchor tenants, those big anchor tenants in malls. I'm like, dude, malls suck. But like, malls are not small business. But, you know, he spent so much of his time talking on this completely crazy far right point about big business, and that only gave him a couple of minutes to try and ferret out what John Berta had to talk about regarding Acme. And But even then he's like, oh yeah, naked short selling, bad. He knows. Everyone knows. So you should be able to appeal to whatever your elected official is, whatever party they're in. Go make their argument. Go to their office. Talk to their chiefs of staff. Talk to the people. Get phone calls in. Write letters. Go to DC. Walk the hall. Shake hands. Ask if you can lobby them a moment about retail investing, and get in front of them, and then make the argument that getting them to do a committee hearing would be A1 okay. Gets their face on TV, gets them talking about something the constituents will care about, and everyone wants to just, stick it to the banks. So, use those as good arguments. Lord Jameson, how much money will Rosa be offered for her silence? Hey, man, everyone has a price, right, Rosa? Finra Mafia, yep. The MJ Dimino. Rosa, are you worried Finra will send messages ahead to the judge? Did for I have no idea how this works. For this emergency injunction, did you have to serve Finra as well before you filed? I have no idea. She might be asleep. I have no idea if she's still in the chat or not. It's late as heck out there in Florida. Cat, you're in the way. I can't read. Just sit down, dude. Sit down. There you go. Yeah, she may have gone to bed. I don't blame her. Elaine Hensley, pursuant to SCA Rule 10b-17, issuers must be provided notice at least 10 days prior to the record date for the corporate action. I don't think there was any 10 days in there, man. That's for sure. Okay. No, it's great conversations. People having convos with Rosa in here. Fantastic. I'm so glad she's able to stop by, and I hope she's getting much needed sleep, because it is 1:48 in the morning, almost 2 a.m. out there, and she's got might be one of the hearings of her life tomorrow. So get it, girl. We're pulling for you. John B. So short sellers sold fake synthetic shares of Acme and took money from counterparties who bought their fake shares. How is that not fraud? That is exactly fraud. That is facilitating fraud. So, yeah. And I hope Rosa saw the Elaine Hensley SEA rule, because that looks like something could be argued as well. Excuse me, I'm a little burpy tonight. Okay. Randy Crocker, doesn't the 505 code prove collusion? Another excellent point. For those who remember the market maker codes, 505 means I'm short shares. And then went like crazy on Wednesday, right towards the close. People just screaming I'm short shares via the 505 codes. Yeah, that right there is another example. That's another piece you can use. That they were short, and they screamed it so Thursday afternoon, right before close, and hours before Finra issued their U3. Lord Jameson Houston, is it possible insiders at Acme knew exactly what was going to happen and have had a solid plan for exactly what is unfolding? Or are you on the inside enough to know otherwise? I am not on the inside, and I don't know otherwise. I don't think anyone saw this halt coming, honestly. I think this was a blindside to everybody. Everyone was like, hey, looks like they're having to close. Finra finally issued their corporate action, and shares got to close. I think that was what everyone was working on. And then when shares didn't close, they went, that's weird. A broker just said they were going to start closing on the 8th, and they didn't. And then halt. So that tells me that they didn't know this was coming. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, I got to where Rosa checked out. Okay, yeah, she's good night for the evening. Thank you for stopping by, Rosa. You made our night. If I jump in the chat here, and I hope we can interview on Wednesday. Do a little post-mortem. That'd just make my day. When we win, Rosa, I'll use you to buy a new house in Florida. There you go. Rosa on the front cover after Moas. I'm all for it. Two-Tone, morning. If the reason for the halt was not enough time to complete the trades, why wouldn't George just postpone the spinoff? Then widen the record and distribution date. I mean, the argument was there was no time to close trades because they weren't forcing anyone to close trades. This is their own damn fault. So if they're down to 2 days to close these trades, then it looks like a 2-day squeeze. They have to push through 300 million shares in 2 days. That's their own fault. They could have been forcing closing since the S1 was approved. So they didn't do it. They could have issued a corporate action then, but they didn't. They waited and 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 they finally did it and went, oh shit, we shouldn't have done that. Because they just didn't know what they were doing. They failed as regulators, and that is not our fault. It's the fault of the hedge funds. It's the fault of the regulators. So that's right, monkey. Fault of the hedge funds. Fault of the regulators. It's not our fault. It's not your fault. Not the cat's fault. But the cat's suffering. He's not going to be able to eat gold-plated fancy feast as a result. But he is going to put hairs up my nose. Like, dude, you aren't even that much of a shitter. Nothing like Snoopy. But still, your hairs are everywhere. Amanda McLaughlin, Houston, good point about the fox watching the henhouse. This is probably a tinfoil hat moment, but Ken Griffin now has a business in Florida. Do you think it's influence in Florida courts? I mean, he shouldn't, because the judges, they're appointed for life. They don't have to worry about election, things like that. But you can still have complete weirdos who are appointed like by Trump or something, and who knows which way they would go. But it sounds like Rosa got a good consumer protection judge. So that right there might be a good omen for tomorrow or today. I guess it is for her right now. Do shareholders own more than 165 million? Craig Donner. I think so, and I think the actions of Finra and the brokers says definitely more than that. Cullum, any interest in the SBF arrest and impending influx of financial pseudo-lawyers? I think it's interesting that Bahama finally arrested him. It sounds like they're extraditing him. But also, it sounds like a whole bunch of Binance people are going to be arrested for money laundering as well. So the big spheres of crypto are, I think, swirling the drain right now. So that's where it sounds like they are. Give them all, and they're stabilizing both our economy and the rest of the world by doing what they did. Yeah. I mean, there will be a chapter about the short selling bubble in finance books in the future. And they'll talk about it in the way they talk about, the real estate crisis in 2008 or the stock market crash of 29. or the tulip bubble. Like, they will talk about the trillions and possibly quadrillions of dollars in liability that was created through this blatant short selling across the board. And they're going to have to redesign a system that's focused on like investing in stocks long term for clients and not trying to get a quick buck by destroying everything. We need to overhaul the entire thing. It's just silly, and we all know it's silly, and they know it's silly, but they're rich and we're not, and that's the difference. Is that, you know, it may come down to like Bastille type, you know, revolution, eat the rich style, but it's got to change at some point. So much love for Rosa in here. I love to see it, man. Just great. It's fantastic she showed up. I love that. Okay. Alejandro Mendez, GME AMC still alive, 20K in that bitch. Anyway, thanks, Houston. I mean, if these short hedge funds go under as a result of this, then your other short plays are going to explode as well. So, win twice, baby. If you have all 1,000 stocks 10,000 stocks that they shorted, they're going to have to close positions on everything. And it's going to be just wild. Absolutely wild. Kronk, can they make it so no broker can cap our limit orders? That would also be great. Like, one of the reasons they don't like having they like having caps on limit orders is because when you put a stock up for a limit order, they can't borrow it. You can't take it out of your account, man. Is Rosa the bird lady? No, the bird lady is someone different. Pen name. Rosa is a lawyer in Florida who filed for an emergency injunction against Finra to allow trading to continue. Bird lady is a YouTuber who talks about oil and gas stocks. It has been in on the Acme thing since the beginning. So that's Roller Pigeon, I think, is her official name. It was called Bird Lady. My gimmick is I wear goofy shirts. Her gimmick is she dresses like a bird. Everyone's got their gimmick. Lightning Warrior's got his giant muscles and his face paint. Dirk has his VWAP hat. Everyone's got their little gimmick that they do. I'm definitely too lazy to paint my face. Although I did make that mustache for Halloween. Or for Crazy Mustache Day. So you got that from me. All right. Titletown closing group. Titletown close group. Titletown closing group. You get Titletown closing group ad there. Sincere 206, if we can join the live stream, we can show up in droves to show how many people are affected by this and show our support to Rosa. Yes. If you are able to show up to the Zoom call for the federal hearing tomorrow, a couple of rules. You put your name in as observer on Zoom, and you turn your screen off. Those are the rules they usually make. And no talking. Mute everything. They do not want to hear you. They will boot you from there so fast. But if there's like 1,000 people suddenly in there, all as observers, the judge is going to go, holy shit, this is wild. I don't know if the Zoom will be able to handle all this. It might fill up, it might crash the Zoom computers at that point. The servers are like, no, smoke comes from them. And but if you do, black screen, muted, observer. That's what you go as. So, yeah. Okay. Shark Attack Casino allowed you to lose thousands, but when the jackpot hit machine malfunction. Exactly. It's the tap on the shoulder of the guys who win at the blackjack table, and they say, "Sir, you can no longer gamble here." Right? They don't want you to win. All right. Real rugged do-it-yourself. I have CD-ROMs of Credit Suisse documented swap procedures that I documented back in 2004, 2005. Oh, really? So we have an idea of what they're doing back then, which probably isn't any different than what they're doing now. Rosa says, I think hedge funds make billions on investors every day. They can spare some of their earnings. Exactly. Right. And you know what happen if they give us some of their earnings, do you know where that money goes? Back into the hedge fund. Because we got to put that money somewhere. Right? So there's no great loss for them. That money's still going to be assets under management that they have. So there's no harm for them. They're fine. Cat, don't fall off the table, cat. You want to go outside? Is that what you want? All right. Sorry, the cat wants to leave. All right, cat. GTFO. Do it. Go. All right. Cat's gone. Good. He's just sticking his tail in my face the entire time anyway. Okay. Danzo Strife, what are the best banks for millionaires? I think all banks are good for millionaires because that's who they want to cater to. You get like the private banker card. You get when you go to the bank, they take you off that separate room and have the supermodel handle all your money for you. So I think whatever, it doesn't matter what bank you're in as a cajillionaire. Although I do have a friend who made a fortune in financial services in London, and then when he was like 38, had a midlife crisis. He's like, you know what? I hate this. I don't want to do it anymore, and he left. And he ended up moving to the U.S., retired, and got married. And he went through. His wife was cheated on. Went through a pretty heinous divorce, and he was trying to make sure that she didn't drain all the bank accounts. And so I was having lunch with him one day, and he gets a phone call, and he's like, "Oh, 1 second, I take this." It's like, oh, fantastic, great news. Yeah, everything should be signed. Great, awesome. 1 more second. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, hey, yeah. Is this Tom? Yeah, I want to let you know that I bought your bank and you're fired. Excellent. All right. Boop. And so what happened was he was trying to like ensure that the accounts weren't just drained, and he bought the entire bank and fired the guy who wasn't allowing him to do what he wanted with his accounts. And then he told me he was like, it was like a friggin' Crazy Rich Asians, except 10 years before that. And he's like, never do business with a bank that has less money than you. It's like, oh, damn. So I guess that's something to think about when you're filthy rich, because I don't really have the choice. I have to do a bank with, all banks are going to have more money than me. Oh, boom. Scott Lumley, if Bill Gates farts $800 million every morning, we should get some gas next. I mean, maybe. I mean, you need cash too. You can afford to eat expensive meals. Rosa Tawil, be annoying until you're in front of them is my method. That's as probably good a method as any. I mean, squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? Craig Donner, is future buyers of Next Bridge pressuring Acme parent company to not postpone dates? I'm sure that they will try, but there's no love lost between Acme parent company and short sellers. Why would they do them a single favor, right? Remember they tried to buy out the entire company for 500 million, and George went no, because he knows what he has. He knows what the future holds. They know that they're going to be a $10 billion a year company before long, and they're fine. Chris Smith, I work collections at a credit union in Oklahoma. The mortgage and car repos are horrible right now. I'm assuming they were 18,000 a day during the summer. I'm sure they're screened past that. Yeah. Monkey, what are you doing under there? Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Roza Tawil, and to appeal the injunction, they need to provide more information. Okay. Yes, they will appeal, but that doesn't matter if the judge makes the order to keep it open. Then we can start asking for discovery too. Cool. I like that. So the appeal forces them to reveal sorts of stuff. And if they manage to reveal that there's communications between Finra and the short hedge funds, then that's collusion. That's a criminal conspiracy right there. So if someone from a hedge fund was like, "Hey, buddy at Finra, can you just like shut down trading so that we can get out of this?" And Finra's like, "Yeah." There's an email that shows that. Oh, dude. Not only did they commit a crime, but they're gonna owe. Immunity won't matter at that point. The individuals will have to pay probably. Absolutely, just delicious. Okay. Chris Green, at this point, it might be cheaper for them to buy Exxon if they're the buyer to make all this disappear. Just in my thinking, yeah, I mean, you could buy Exxon for like 400 billion or something, right? Um, yeah, cheaper to buy Exxon. I mean, when the economy crashed and the oil companies were asked for bailouts, it'd been cheaper for the U.S. government just to buy Exxon at that point. Hey, and then we got the hot boys and girls showed up just in time too in there also. Great job, guys. uh, they were telling Rosa to get ready. She's gonna be famous. I think she's famous right now. She did it. Oh, and there's the reset of the chat. So I gotta scroll back. And did I lose anything? Okay. Everyone's telling Rosa to go to bed, which I think she has done at this point. I think she's not in the chat anymore. Yeah. I feel like I need to go to bed soon. Especially if I'm gonna get up at like 6 to try to accomplish things. Okay. Going through here. Sorry, lots of people just having a great conversation with Rosa, so I'm trying to scroll past those and get to comments or questions that I can talk about. Thought you were having an earthquake. No, it's just a cat. Dr. Evil, has anything like this ever happened besides the Volkswagen squeeze? Is this history in the making? I think I think it could be bigger than the Volkswagen squeeze, because what happened with the Volkswagen squeeze was powers that be asked Porsche to release shares, because Porsche had so much of the float that they just didn't have to sell anything, and they finally relented and were like, fine, we'll sell some shares. But in this case, there's no Porsche behind this. There's just tens of thousands of retail investors who are holding on for dear life, and we cannot be reasoned with. We cannot be bargained with. You just have to send us money. You have to show us the money, and then we'll go, fine, you can have a share. The next one's going to cost you twice as much. And that's just how it's going to work. So, that's the nature of it. It's even scarier than Porsche and the Volkswagen skis. This I think is a mixture between Porsche and Overstock at this point, because there is something the shorts can't have, and that is shares in a private company. So they have to close positions in order to fix everything. Then they're trying to skirt the issue by creating this QSIP for shares to go to obligation warehouse that will never be closed or covered or anything. And I think Rosa's injunction is pretty solid to say that that's not allowed to happen. That's against the rules. They must close these positions. And hopefully the judge goes, I agree. They have to close positions. We're going to give you 2 days starting tomorrow. And then everything has to open up Wednesday. The order goes out to all the brokerages, and they have to start closing positions. And there's Rosa saying good night. All right. Good night, Rosa. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I hope on Wednesday we can have, I don't know, pop some Martinelli's apple cider and celebrate. Cough burp, don't the semester feel like I've missed the world? Is GME not a thing anymore, or is everyone in on this Acme situation? Well, I think, it's the shiny new thing at the moment. GME is still a thing, and I'm sure if we make fortunes off of this, that there's going to be a lot of GME purchase, a lot of Acme parent company purchase, a lot of APE purchase, a lot of whole bunch of these stocks, because the money's got to go somewhere. And I mean, I'll take a chunk of it and build a 4x4 RV, but yeah, it's going somewhere. Rosa, once you do your opening statement, do you do a little river dance? Craig Donner is postponing dates too complex of an issue. I don't think so. I think they can just go, we're postponing. And that's that. And everyone has to follow it. And I think it has to be done tomorrow. Bobby Norwood, my account increased by 17K tonight for no reason. Anyone else notice that? Let's see where mine is, if that's happened. Who are you with, Bobby? Wait for login. Nope, mine didn't. Nothing's changing mine. So no, I'm not so fortunate to have that happen. Sean Alexander. Is it the Sean Alexander, the former Seahawk? Bahamas police force arrested Sam Bankman-Fried as U.S. authorities filed criminal charges against him. So his paying off Bahamian authorities with $200 million of ill-gotten gains apparently has not worked. I think the fraud charges are that he sold Bitcoin that didn't exist, I think is what he accidentally admitted to the other day. And that right there is a fraud. So those will probably be what the criminal charges stem from. Cat hair just will not end. Houston, how many signatures do we have in the petition? We're at 8,000 last I saw, but that was like this morning. I have no idea how many it's at now. There's a petition on change.org to force Finra to open up trading. Let me see here. I go there. I click on, where are you? Taking forever to load. Load. Come on, do it. Load. Why aren't you loading? You're just trying to load the notifications in YouTube. It's not that hard. It's not that hard, friend. All right, well, that's taking, everything's frozen. Cool. There, now is it working? There it is. Okay. Brandon Moore says almost 9,500. So okay, so it's the change.org position. Let's change screen. We've been change screens all night here. We've been yik-yakking. And bam. Wait, where you? There we go. Nope, not that one. Nope, that one. Yes, that's the one. Okay. Where this here? Boom. So this is the trading halt for nefarious acts. I'm going to click the link, copy that, throw it into the chat. Do that. Delete all this, 'cause that's just a bunch of annoying links. Come on, 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 come on. Boom. All right, it's in the chat. Link's in the chat. We're at 9,526 signatures. So if you have not signed, and there's 698 of you in here right now, you can push us over the 10,000 signature limit, which would be fantastic. So go here, sign your name, first name, last name, email. Boom, done. You did it. Fantastic. Good job. High five. We can get that number to climb above the 9,526 signatures. So do it, my friends. Get in there. Hit that thing. Okay. And there's someone asking if I linked to the petition. There's the link. Let's see if I can refresh and see if you guys have added to it. Oh, wait. We just lost some signatures. How'd that happen? All right, 9. Okay. 10. All right, it's climbing. 11, 12. All right, it's going. You guys are doing it. Got 700 of you. Get in there. Sign it if you haven't signed. Ordinary Angler Houston, can you explain what happened if Rosa wins in court tomorrow? If Rosa wins in court tomorrow, the judge is going to say, this is if she gets everything she wants, which may or may not happen in the order. But let's just go by the assumption that she gets everything she wants. The judge is going to say, yeah, this was totally unfair and shouldn't have happened this way. So we are going to pause the privatization of the company. We're going to open up trading for 2 more days. And Finra's going to have to withdraw the U3, and the shorts will have 2 days, and they have to close every single solitary position in those 2 days. That would be the ideal ruling from the judge. And then whatever shares are left can go private. So, you having a hard time over there, buddy? Yeah. All right, we gained 5. We're at 9,526 in signatures. Let's see how much further. I think that's where he was before. I'm gonna hit that refresh again and see how it climbs. 9,526, 9,522. Well, make up your mind, man. Now it's at 9,522. Oh yeah, they just like to do a slow little climb there each time. Bithead Occupier of VWAP Pontiff, sign this. Tell him, Houston. By the way, did you tell NASA about my idea? You're a good man. I don't remember what your idea was. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I don't remember. Yes, I told NASA about your idea. I totally remember what it was. Exactly. I told them everything. But yes, sign away. 9,538. Excellent. Get in there, folks. Sign, 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 sign. Okay. Michael Harrow, SBF is facing being Epstein before he opens his mouth. I mean, he did lose probably a lot of Russian oligarchs, a lot of money. Okay, and folks, if you're not in my chat too often, it takes me a long time to get to the chats because there's a lot of you that pop in here and ask things, and so especially if you get me going on rants, I can get really far behind the chats. So you don't need to like post the chat over and over and over and over. Usually I get there eventually, and if I don't, I have to just apologize. But I try to see your chats and get to them when I can. And if I happen to miss them, I'm so sorry. But you don't need to post them over and over and over and over. I'll see it eventually. And MMT's unrubbed. I'll get them to eventually. Colleen Davis, Houston, can we do a Charity Tuesday for court costs for Rosa? I would love to, but the Charity Tuesday only works with registered charities with YouTube. So I can't like do one to send Rosa money because any money that would get sent would just go to me. And then I have to figure out how to send it to her. And I don't want that responsibility. So, but Charity Tuesdays are just for charities registered with YouTube because YouTube just sends that money straight to the charity. So I'd love to raise money in other ways, but I don't have the methods for that. Okay. Winter Cage, if she wins the injunction, will they just roll the shares back, or how the hell will that work? And could that give Shorts a way to hide? I don't know exactly how it would work. I don't know what method would the order will go out, and I'm sure it'll get served to Finra, and Finra will be forced to tell all the brokers, like, hey, this is the court order, this is what's happening. Finra will likely appeal, but I don't think the appeal would halt the halt. Unhalting the halt. Such a weird way of saying. I don't think any appeal they would file would be in time to have to stop from enacting the order. So I'd be interested to see how it goes, man. All right. Okay. Yeah. And folks, like, if you're gonna ask the same question over and over again, they're probably gonna just delete your chat. Just by the way, just ask it once. I'll get to it eventually, and that's how it goes. Bithead occupier VWAP Pontiff. For fuck's sake. The idea is don't send Carl Sagan. Infiltrate a silver mylar balloon to 1 kilometer in diameter, spray foam around it, create struts and an equator. Yeah, totally. I wrote NASA the exact thing there. Go with laser around the equator, make 2 silver mirrors, put James Webb Space Telescope focus on the mirror, and voila, we have the largest telescope. So you're looking at mirror redundancy. Okay. No, I like it. Make a big mylar sphere, right? You put the James Webb Space Telescope to focus on a focal point within that mylar sphere, and you're now magnifying a magnified image. Let's do it. Seems like a cheap way to do that. But it'd be a great way to extend the Hubble's life right there. Use the Hubble as a secondary mirror, and you'd probably see people waving halfway across the universe with that. Right, Monkey? Yep. Okay, 9540 I've signed. Let's just see what it does when I do the reset here. Climbs. 9536, and it's just going to climb to 9540, isn't it? So 680 of you, get in there and sign. Click that link. Sign. A Crispy Chicken, any news from Acme Parent Company on this? Not a one. They've been silent. I'm sure their lawyers are doing stuff and trying to figure things out. Any lawyer worth their salt would definitely be trying to do that as well. Oh, 9548, 9549, 9550. Oh, baby, just 450 to go. Get there. Get us that 10,000. Tweet it out. Put it on Reddit. Get it out there. This is my idea. Please tell them you're an American. Do it for me, please. Bithead, I'm going to tell them it's my idea. And no. I do like it's like junk punk science. I dig it. Why not? Make a big giant mylar balloon. If you make it big enough, it doesn't matter if it's all wrinkly and stuff, it'll still focus. And yeah, spray foam it. I like it. Spray foam it, put it in space, focus a telescope on it, and have magnification. I dig it, man. Get it. Get it. Tulips are a solid investment. That's the Dutch. Astro 3 morning 7 a.m. here in Ireland. Not a millionaire. I'm off to work. Since I'm not a millionaire, off to work. All right. Could have been a meta millionaire by now. Yeah. Bum, bum. Monkey butt. Stop grooming yourself, bud. You're groomed. You're a clean dog. You are. You're a clean dog and a sweetheart. All right. I'm gonna do the scroll down to the bottom here, see what is cooking, and then that's it for me tonight. Because I'm gonna wake up about crack of dawn again, and see if I can listen into whatever hearing might be happening. I'm gonna look. I bet. Hopefully, the docket's been posted by now. Sometimes they don't post it till early in the morning. And Azul Hughes, are you yay or nay on Neil deGrasse Tyson? As a science educator, I think Neil deGrasse Tyson does a great job. I think he's kind of cantankerous, and that, like, sometimes on Twitter you're like, dude, what being such a grump? But you know, he's not necessarily wrong in those cases. But I'm okay with Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a good science educator. He just, sometimes is a bad tweeter. Okay, everyone's talking about what their Acme shares are showing up in as on their various brokerages. Some are showing 0. Some are showing like $3, close to it. Finra fraud is still trending. Awesome. Excellent. Keep putting it out there. Keep tweeting it out. Do it. Where are we? 9544? 9554. Let's see if it keeps climbing again. Houston, where will the court docket be posted? It is the Northern District of Florida. Federal court. Let's see here. Case info, public access electronic pacer. Here we go. Let's see if the pacer's up. Dun 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 dun. Okay. Judge info, forms, juries, e-filing, pacer information. Let's see if it's on there. I'm not. I can't log in. I don't know how to get the docket. How do I get the docket? Okay, case of interest. Nope. That's not us. Calendar. Maybe on there. Page not found. Cool. Good job. Good job. District Florida, Circuit 11, contact information, flag detonations. It looks like I gotta log in to find out what that is. Find a case. I want to find a case. Specific court? Sure. I gotta log in my pacer. I don't have a pacer because I'm not a lawyer. Dang it. I don't know how to find it. If you guys do, if someone else does find it, let me know. Because dockets, here you go. Justia. Case filed. Okay, so there's 300,000 here. These are like all past cases. Filed December 9th. Terry Hodges, December 9th, December 9th, December 9th. December 9th. This has not been updated. Looks like these are all filed last Friday. Last Friday. There's 300,000 of them to search through here. So, intellectual property, bankruptcy, labor, forfeiture, torts, injury, property. Would it be our tort property? Huh. Yeah. Looks like, yeah, this looks like it has not been updated since December 9th. So maybe just updates it weekly. I don't know. I don't know. Sorry if I can't find it. Okay. Oh, drop the link again. Didn't show up for me. Oh, shoot. Okay. Petition. You know, we'll just throw the whole giant messy link in here. Or no, you know what? I'm going to do the short link. I'm going to do this link. Copy link address. We'll do the shortened one. Boom, boom. There's the link for the... Oh, wait, that didn't... Nope. That's not good. I don't like that one. That's not... No. Bam. I'm going to take you. I'm going to copy that. Copy. Go there. Go there. There we go. And bam. So change.org. There you go. All right. So 9556. All right, everybody. I'm faded. I was so jazzed that Rosa showed up in our chat. I'm going to definitely try and do a show with her on Wednesday, and we can do some sort of post-mortem and see how it went. I really hope it's successful. I hope she gets well rested. She's run the arguments over and over in her head, and that it's super duper, 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 super duper successful. Right, everybody? Right, Monkey? You want to say goodbye to everybody, Monkey? Come on up here. Come on up here. Come on up. Let's say goodbye. Let's get Big Houston going here. Shaboom. No, Monkey, come on. Come on. Come on. We're saying goodbye, buddy. Okay, look at that camera. Look at that camera right there. And say bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good night. I'll see you Wednesday. I don't know. Maybe we'll have great news and we'll do some sort of emergency show tomorrow. But I got a lot of crap I got to get done tomorrow, so I don't know if I'll have that chance. But good night. Bye-bye.